Hello guys, Ricochet here. I'm so excited to come your way with another powerful insight. Today I want to talk about the 5 viable ways to create an extra income. The 5 viable ways to create extra income. I know the economy is harsh on most people, on all of us, and we are in dire times. Things are becoming expensive by the day, inflation is rising, and people are wondering how they can survive. So I'm making this video to share with you what I am doing and what you could possibly do to survive, keep your head above the waters. You see, now um, sometimes I get baffled why topics like these are not taught in schools. I get baffled why the topic of money is not discussed in schools. I get baffled why the topic of money is not discussed even in churches, in holy places. I get baffled why the topic of investment is not discussed in the classroom. But the fact is that most of us know that we go out every day to look for money, and therefore, irrespective of the profession which you have trained for, the ultimate goal is to be able to give off service that pays. And so the fact is, so if we are expected to give off a service or give off a product that pays, then there's an absolute need for us to learn how to maximize the money we get in order to be able to sustain ourselves for the long while. So I want to share with you the 5 viable ways that I think that if we really concentrate on it, we can generate more streams of income into our life. The first one, which is so common that every one of us really does it, is that we exchange time for money. And the fact is, about 90% of people in the world today exchange their time for money. In fact, only 1% of the people do not exchange their time for money. And that is how come they 1% continue to grow their wealth. They do not exchange their time for money. What they do instead, they exchange their time to create a tangible product or service which can serve a great number of people. And so they don't go out there every day to exchange their time for money, but what they do instead is that they consecrate their time, a chunk of their time, creating products and services that can serve a large majority of people. And by so doing, when people buy into their product and services, then they can generate money from it. And so there's a difference between exchanging your time for money and exchanging your time to create tangible products and services that can serve the world. So one key thing, or one way we can generate income, is to exchange our time for money, but it's not so much viable. But the fact is that most of us do it, and if you do exchange your time well, you can maximize how much you make with the time that you spend. So that is one way. The next way is that people can look at investing in businesses. In business, you can invest in the stock market. You can invest in a physical business to generate income. What you have to notice is that you would always have to put a percentage of your money into someone else's business. A lot of people don't understand this concept. The fact is that you want people to buy a product you have produced. You want people to buy a service that you have created. The fact is that you also in turn have to dedicate a percentage of your money to invest in other people's business. And by so doing, when these people work with your money, they can give you something in return. It is a spiritual principle. If you dedicate a portion of whatever you make and put it in someone else's business, a viable business, of course, there's definitely going to be return from whatever you're investing in the person's business. Another way that you can invest is to invest for um, royalties. You got to invest for royalties. How do you get royalties for investment for royalties? How do you get income from royalties? One key way is to create something that a lot of people can use over a longer period of time. By so doing, if you create something like a book, for instance, you can create one book that becomes a bestseller, and when that book becomes a bestseller, it can pay you royalties for life. And so it is not so common, but the fact is that if you consecrate a part of your time to create something very useful, something very valuable that a large majority of people can use, then there's a sure way that that thing that you have created that you spend a considerable amount of your time on can produce or that can bring you royalties from it for as long as you live. So royalties is a very viable stream of income that people can depend on. But the fact is that you've got to come up with a banger. You've got to come up with something that a lot of people will need and a lot of people will have the desire for. Otherwise, it's very, very frustrating. So if you write a book and the book becomes a bestseller, there's an absolute need, absolutely, you are absolutely sure that it is going to bring you royalties. So the top three ways, viable ways to create income or to generate income to your life. The first one is exchanging time for money, which is very common, but you can make it productive based on how much you are getting from the time you are spending. The second one is investing for passive income or passive streams of income. The fact is putting aside a percentage of your money into somebody else's business and demand a return from it. And the third one, I say that it is for you to be able to create a product or service that you can put it in the world that can pay you royalties. A small percentage of the product is used by, or people pay you a small percentage for the product you have created. And one key product you can create to be able to create royalties is a book, just like I have here. This is a book that I created in 2011, and as I speak, it still keeps paying me royalties because I consecrated a chunk of my time to create it once, and once I created it once, it keeps paying me. And that is another example. There's when you see here, I have another book here which I created just this year. It is also paying me. And so the fact is that if you able to come up with a very good product or service that you can put it out there, it can serve you for as long as the products exist. And another way I believe that can help you generate streams of money into your life and during this tough economic downturn is that you have to be able to learn to start a business. Not everybody's an entrepreneur, not everybody's a business person. And so if you're not a business person, you're not an entrepreneur, the top three that I've actually stated would really help you. That is exchanging time for money, that is getting paid through royalties, and that is a certain percentage of your money to invest in other people's business for to generate passive income. The top three will be your best friends. But if you have the knack for business like I do, if you have the knack for entrepreneurship like I do, you can actually start a business, invest a percentage of your money into something you think a lot of people need, and then develop it from a startup and then develop it to something great. All right, so it's so important for you to be able to start a business if you have a knack for it. And there's nothing as important as starting something that you can call your own. And the fact is, it doesn't have to come from you. You can start a company. You can start a partnership with a group of people. There is always a way to come together to create something that people need. All right, and so it's so important for you to understand that starting a business is critical if you want to generate another stream of income for yourself. It's not for everybody, but hey, if you give it a thought, if you have the knack for it, go for it. Now, the last thing that I believe that we can do during these difficult financial challenges or economic challenges is that we need to be able to give something out from our resources to help somebody out. You have to be able to be a giver. And the fact is that the more you give, the more you receive. The Holy Book says that it's more blessed to give than to receive. And so if you, no matter what you are able to generate from the world, if you put a percentage of it and bless somebody's life with it, it creates a vacuum for more to be filled or for more money to come into your life. And so you don't store money. You always have to create a vacuum for more money to come into your life. The only way, one of the ways to create a vacuum is to be able to give to people, be a giver. And it is so important to understand this principle. And once you become a giver, it, you become a channel of blessing. It's a spiritual principle which says that once you become a channel of blessing, you will not lack any good thing, because you have created a channel where people pass through to be a blessing to others. So whatever resources that people need, it passes through you to get to them. And so you become a channel of blessing to people by giving to help others. And so these are five viable ways I think if you put them into considerable use, you can generate streams of money into your life. And I believe that you are going to sail through this economic crunch. You are going to sail above the water. You are going to come up on top, and you are going to be more productive during this time. In fact, not everybody is down as you think. People are creating. This is an opportune time for you to be creative and bring something valuable into the world. See you another time, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Bye bye.